Good morning. I wasn't working out this morning because we got an early appointment. I decided I'd throw some clothes on after checking up on Facebook and stuff. I was just sitting around drinking coffee this morning and I was going to skip the workout. I usually work out 5 to 6 days a week. Um, but I threw on some workout clothes to come out to my gym. Now, I do have quite a bit of equipment out here, so I'll show you what I do, but I'll also show you ways that you can do it without equipment. So it's all right. It's just over years of doing it, I've built up other equipment because I wanted to keep focusing on doing it. I'll show you some of the reasons that it doesn't, because like your problems with your pain in your back is because of when you're doing a sit-up, just like regular sit-ups, people will engage their legs and their back because their abs are weaker. Um, Building up your abs will cause them to pull and contract instead of using that. So you need to find some workouts that really focus on letting you, and a lot of times you have to use your brain to physically do it. I'll show you this workout, which is my favorite. This is what I was talking about with the weighted crunches. I've set it up already. This is just a cable machine. I put a couple of weight plates on there that is not extremely heavy, so I don't have to weight my legs or anything. I've got this, which goes on each side of my shoulders. I put those little dumbbells in place and this soft pad and this, and I'll show you why. I put this little foam pad back here. You can use a rolled up blanket or whatever, but that just gives some more support so that when I'm sitting back on it, nothing else. I don't want to be focusing on my ankles or anything. I want to be focusing solely on my abs. Pull this and tuck, and then you're just doing a weighted crunch. If you have access to a machine like this, you can add as much weight as you need. You can even, I take a weighted vest and lay it across my legs here so that I can add even more weight. But the idea is that you literally think about your abs and you try to engage them as you pull and go down. And you can vary this by going side to side, which will engage more of your obliques. Try not to go fast. Speed uses momentum. You're trying to slowly, time under pressure, keep your abs engaged and pulling. I get done with doing a set of that, my lower back is not engaged in any way, and neither is anything in my thighs. Another favorite of mine, this is what I was talking about with the GHD machine. It stands for glutes, hams, and delts. You're supposed to use this machine this way, which if you have access to one of these, would probably be a good exercise to still throw in, because you can put weight here, but you're just building, it's for your glutes, hams, and delts. But what I use it for primarily is this. I get a good distance here to where this is right at my lower buttocks. And after engaging a few times, you'll see me overextend. Not so much that I'm hurting my spine, but I'll overextend and slowly come up. If you're starting an exercise like this, after you get used to it, you can add weight. You can take a medicine ball. This one's a 10-pounder. Tuck it behind the small of your back right, or the small of your neck, or at the back of your head, and hold it. The higher this is, putting it here is easy. Putting it here gets that weight from your leverage point farther out. It's much harder. The great thing about this is, if you decide to do something like this, there is a fallback plan. If you use a med ball like this and you build up and you get too heavy, it's an easy one to get rid of. Like if you're doing this exercise and you get to this point and you're like, oh God, you can let go. And you can use your hands to come back up. I do it all the time, so I made myself this little weight that I hold behind my neck, and I just leave them over here, and that's the way I do them. It's just something I came up with to do these. As I already said, I'm into abs. I feel like that's a very important central core exercise, and they recover very fast, so it's easy to work them out any day that I'm doing something else. This is something I bought because I liked the convenience of it, and I'll give you examples. And like I said, I'm still going to show you some stuff without equipment. These are just things that I do use with equipment. This is something that you can decline very much or go back up. Depending on the height you set this at, it's the difficulty. If this is higher and you have a 90-degree angle, it is much harder to do a sit-up with these up here and tucked tight. And this just puts your body in a natural decline. But you'll find that it definitely engages your core and your abs versus engaging anything else that you're trying to make sure you don't engage. I use these. They're called Roman chair, or you can, because it's a calisthenic group, anything that you have that has bars, you do not have to have this, because this is for engaging just your legs, which will help you with L-sits. And you can even do, like, if you can't do full leg lifts straight, then you can do knee ups. If you get to a point where you can do knee ups easier, but you still can't do those, you can put the weighted little straps down there. Again, if you don't have any equipment, come up with anything. You can, little cheap dumbbells are very cheap, but you can take a sandbag. You can take anything and put here. And again, you don't have to have this, but if you grab it, and if it was just knee ups, you can still do that and add whatever. As you can imagine, you can take a backpack and just put a book in it and still lift it, because you're pinching and engaging, still lifting it. That will help you. But even if you have just parallel bars, you can do the equivalent with still a dip bar equivalent, or you can still do that. Throw in your dips every once in a while, but you can still do your knee ups, which do help. Now, these are not going to tremendously build your abs. They're going to build your endurance and still help work everything out, kind of like you're doing the sit-ups, but they're not going to build anything unless you add weight. You can do things like this where you can put a resistance band, because I like bands. Bands are very inexpensive. Or you can do things like this, where you tuck them under. Or again, if you have a backpack, you take a backpack on the ground, find anything that's got something that you could grab up here, connect this, and usually these will have a strap that you can just put around your ankles, and you lift against the band. The great thing about bands are, the higher you pull, the harder the resistance pulling back, which really helps tear your muscles. This is something I created myself. You just take some straps. I'm not super creative. It's not like I designed this. I'm just saying I made this at my gym. Or if you can find anything, there's a door frame and you've got one of those pull-up bars, you can take any type of rope and suspend it. And these are just straps that These straps came with some of those workout bands. So if you do this, and you have enough room, all I do is come out here. Sometimes I'll put dumbbells out here. Sometimes I'll just grab the ground. But this is another great way of isolating because it's a crunch when you're hanging. I don't know how much I'm in the picture, but you just pull your knees to close to your chest as you can get them and bring them back. Okay, this is a decline bench I used to use for sit-ups. I can tell you I went away from it because I was using it forever trying to get my abs to grow because it does engage your abs doing this, but it puts a much unnecessary strain on your knees and you'll start hurting here before you feel it here. Stop doing any of those exercises that's overusing one or two of your particular areas. You don't need excess use. You don't need your back to be hurting. If your back's hurting, it's because your body is trying to cheat and help a weaker muscle by using auxiliary muscles to engage to do it. You need to just focus on your abs, even if that means not adding weight for a little bit and just making sure that you mentally say, you work, not this. I don't like this because I tried adding towels and things here to make it where it's softer and more cushioned and dissipated the weight. It really doesn't. And again, learn that. Don't keep doing something that hurts you. I set this up to be close to like the equivalent of putting your feet with no equipment under a bed or a sofa or something. If you do that, you just need to tell yourself first, just do a regular sit-up without letting this or this area engage. Make sure you're telling this to contract. So you're telling it, hey, I will use abs only to pull, not try to let these push. There is a difference. If you do 5 or 10 reps, slow motion, you should start to feel whatever muscle you're actually using. You're not trying to overdo it right now. Just try to make sure you see, if I do this, is this starting to hurt? Is this starting to hurt? Or am I even feeling it here? If you're trying to do too many sit-ups, your body is cheating for you and letting those muscles take over instead of the ones you're trying to grow. So just relax and try to find some other way of varying it. You can vary this greatly by finding something to put under your back that'll give you a decline. You can put a roll-up blanket or towels or something under there. You can add medicine balls, but it don't have to be a ball. You can add, you can make your own. You can take sandbags and little duffel bags or whatever you have, and you can add them. Again, you can stuff a bunch of dirty laundry right here, and that will engage you differently each time you do that. The higher you keep this away, if you only have one amount of weight, the higher you keep it away, the harder it is on that area of your body. If you're trying it here, it's easier, just like it was on the GHD machine. So as you do it, I forgot I couldn't put it behind my head. And add things like this, and then, again, you can vary. If you have one set of, maybe you just have a set of little dumbbells. Vary it up by holding them here. You can still do the same thing, just focusing on your abs. Some mornings you may want to do something to engage different muscle groups to keep your mind off of it. But the most important thing is tell this to work. Don't let anything else cheat. Again, you can take a backpack with the same books or whatever and put it on your chest. And if you keep adding more weight right here, it's the equivalent of adding less weight right here. Hope this video helped you a little bit. I've got to go in and get ready right now. I don't have a ton of time to show out here. I have currently about a 12.3% body fat. So I have been down and around the 11s. I'm back up. I was trying to build more muscle, but I added more fat to my midsection by doing that again. And even with added cushion, again, if you start out like Eric was saying on there with 10%, you'll be even better. But even with that's 12.4. Now I have a decent amount of abs still showing, but that's because they're very deep. But I still have a pooch at the bottom, and that is what 12.4 right now, which when I get back down to closer to the 11.5 to see more, because there is thickness. Let me show that. There's a thickness to the pinch right there. And yet with that thickness, there's still engaged abs that will still show even through my shirt, because there is a thickness there that I've built those large enough you can still see them with the fat on top of it. What he was saying was if you get your body fat down, you'll shave that off of it and then it'll be ripped across there. And it's completely true. Last thing is, like Eric was saying, make sure you feed your body good. Like after that tiny little workout, this is my breakfast. We got 3 eggs, which I do get those from my mother-in-law, so they're organic, but it doesn't really matter. I just do it because I'm cheap. Some yogurt, and I've got some Ezekiel bread, which is in the toaster right now. But Ezekiel bread doesn't have flour. That's a fantastic way of still getting carbs without the flour, which is a problem. This is a yogurt that I eat that has very little amounts of sugar. It does have a tiny amount. There is 2 grams in there. And then peanut butter, this is not one that's got a ton of extra junk. It was an easy one, and there's quite a few others, but don't do one of them that's got a bunch of junk going inside your body. But these are a good way. That's just a fat to put back in you. I know you're trying to burn down on maybe a little bit of the excess fat in the middle, but that will still help because you have to feed your body, but feed it with good things immediately after and during the day. Here's the final result. Ezekiel bread with the peanut butter on it. That's a yogurt. I threw some blueberries and blackberries stuff on there. It's just whatever random berry I have, I generally throw on there. I just did 3 eggs today and then straight black coffee. Just giving you an example. It's not something that you have to do specifically. I'm just saying variances of this sort of thing. Don't run by and pick up some fast food junk or try to eat a Pop-Tart on the way while you're trying to build something where if you feed junk, you're going to get junk back. Good luck.